Hey guys, happy Monday. Yes, back to work, back to school Monday, and welcome to the Fox 5 Live Zone. I'm your host, Guy Lambert. Did you see that arm that was just here? That was Tucker. You'll see him in just a second. Welcome to the show, guys. We have a power-packed show coming up for you. Did you hear President Trump? He's done an about-face. Now says release the Epstein files. We have the very latest. Well, the commanders showed up, but they didn't show out in Madrid. Now they're licking their wounds, but fans say, hey, it was still well worth the trip. We'll chat with John Booty and get a complete recap. And ladies, specifically Gen Zers, apparently a number of you say the heck with the good old US of A, and apparently would rather go away. I will explain right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. But first, how about we talk weather, shall we? Tucker Barnes now joining us with that and so much more. Cello, my friend.
Yes, good day. It looks like a lot of people in our area did leave and go to Spain for the game.
Yeah.
It was fun. And you know, the best part of the game was watching all of our DC fans out there.
Yeah, that's the best part. And then I heard sangria happened to be plentiful out there, so.
Good. Yeah. Our colleague Steve Shenevy seems to be having a great time.
Oh, is he still there? Wow.
Yeah,
good for
he's
him.
Still there.
Okay.
Party continues, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, a party for him is one sangria, but whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I wish here on this Monday I'd only had one sangria.
You and me both.
Yeah, there you go. Current conditions, beautiful Monday afternoon with cool conditions. Guy just reported to me that when he was out and about earlier today, the wind was brisk and the temperatures were cool.
It was cold.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. 48 in Washington, and you're right, the wind's out of the west-northwest at 18, making it feel cooler than that, more like low 40s out there. And for sure, it'll be a chillier day than yesterday. Yesterday, we're in the mid-60s. Today, maybe low 50s. So 10-plus degrees cooler today than yesterday. The good news is we should keep it dry, and the reason why I mentioned that is today probably our brightest day of the week.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it's going to get to, November, we start to make that transition in the wintertime, and it gets a little more gloomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so decent afternoon. It will be brisk and cool. Temperature's about 50 and breezy at times with sunshine through, late afternoon, and then we'll be looking at quieter conditions tonight. We are going to get increasing clouds quickly tomorrow morning. If you look off to the south and west, out towards Memphis and St. Louis, a couple of sprinkles out there. There'll be a system that will get going later this afternoon and tonight, and watch it roll into our region tomorrow, mostly in the afternoon. That's tonight at 6:30. Sun's gone down. You're hopefully home from work and chilling out. And that's tomorrow morning. Look what arrives by early afternoon tomorrow afternoon.
That looks like rain.
That's rain. Maybe even a couple of snowflakes or sleet pellets mixed in southern Pennsylvania.
Try saying that fast 3 times, by the way.
Yeah, a little bit of a cold air mass out there. And it'll be a chilly afternoon with rain showers developing tomorrow. Should mostly be out of here by Wednesday morning, but then we kind of keep it gloomy and cloudy Wednesday and Thursday. And it's one of those weeks. But it's not terrible. It's just, it's not, sunshine and beauty.
Hey, it is what it is. We have to take it. So we'll do just that. Tucker Barnes, all things weather right here on the Live Zone with a side of sangria. Folks, if you haven't already done so, make sure you download the local app and take that forecast with you wherever you go.
Thank you.
Well, President Trump reversing course, now calling on the House Republicans to release the classified files on Jeffrey Epstein. In a late-night social media post, the president said, quote, "We have nothing to hide." Last week, the House Oversight Committee released thousands of pages of documents from Epstein's estate. House Speaker Mike Johnson is expected to schedule a vote to force the Justice Department to release what they have gathered. Well, after the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, agencies now returning to normal operations. Federal workers will receive back pay, and programs like SNAP and WIC are being fully restored. The FAA, meanwhile, says staffing levels in air traffic control have stabilized enough to lift nationwide restrictions. Airlines can resume their regular scheduled meetings this morning. Along that, flights as well. Meantime, most Smithsonian museums reopened over the weekend, but as of today, all locations, including research facilities, will be back on their normal schedules. Travelers told Fox 5's Maureen Ume, oh yes, they are truly relieved.
We had hoped to be able to do some things while we were in D.C., and so we were scanning everything, looking at everything, and we were paying very close attention to the website. And once we saw that it was up, I immediately saved our tickets for 10 a.m. so we could get in and be the first people in.
Relieved. It's a lot of a mixed emotion. It's okay, I'm glad that everything's back open, people are able to get their benefits again, but it's also there was a lot of compromise left on the table to make it happen, so.
Yeah, nothing like taking the family to the Smithsonian while visiting Washington, D.C. Apparently, that's happening for a lot of folks now. To the south we go, where federal agents now cracking down on undocumented immigrants in Charlotte, North Carolina. The operation, dubbed Charlotte's Web, has already led to dozens of arrests. Hundreds protested over the weekend, and some residents say many are now afraid to leave their homes. The North Carolina governor condemned the operation. This is yet again a developing story, and we'll have more throughout the afternoon right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Speaking of developing stories, this happens to be, well, in my opinion, the #1 story. This afternoon, President Trump feuding with GOP Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Once a staunch ally, the two are now at odds over the Epstein files. Greene is among a handful of Republicans. She happens to be adamant about releasing the documents. Joining us now to discuss that and so much more is Mr. Arif Halaby, political strategist and radio host back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Good to see you, my friend, and happy Monday.
Thank you. Happy Monday. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hopefully you are doing
Great.
just as fine as well. The question is, President and shall we say the representative, are they doing fine? Apparently not. Once besties, now the two are at odds. Arif, your take on all of this?
Yeah, think about this. All of us have arguments and fights with relationships, even ones we hold dear. So I would expect them to rekindle that relationship and return back to maybe not the same, but just look at Elon Musk. The relationship has kind of returned, and I think Mr. Musk is going to do favors again for the president when it comes to campaigning, et cetera. Look, Marjorie Taylor Greene and a whole lot of Republicans are not happy with the lack of release and transparency on the Epstein files. You'll also see his inability to push back on the budget. That's a big deal for a lot of conservatives, and I think that's going to start to come back, especially after the midterms. You're going to see another push pretty hard towards those ideas, and so there might be more relationships coming up for conversation in the future.
You know what's interesting, Arif? We know that she is actually due to speak sometime in the near future. And one of the things that she has touched on and has actually said is that she is now sorry for taking part in toxic politics. This coming after she received several death threats. And obviously we'll continue to follow that throughout the afternoon right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. You know, one of the other big stories for today, the UN. Yes, they are gathered right now, right up the road in New York City. Among the topic of discussion, food insecurity. Let's go ahead and take a live look in.
Through its cooperation agency, which finances projects across Africa in partnership with UNICEF and UNDP. Third, President, the Council should advance concrete measures, including creating early warning mechanism for violations against food, energy, and water systems, mobilizing financial resource to rapidly restore essential services in conflict setting, guaranteeing safe, rapid, and unhindering humanitarian access, ensuring accountability for attacks on civilian infrastructure, and finally, establishing a dedicated sanction regime targeting parties that violate Resolution 2417 and commit international humanitarian law breaches such as starvation as a weapon of warfare.
Yet again, one of the other developing stories we are following for you throughout the afternoon right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. You were watching the UN holding a special meeting surrounding all things with regard to food insecurity. Back to Arif Halaby now. And Arif, I got to tell you, yet again, we were talking besties, or in this case, they used to be besties, President Trump and obviously the representative. You were making comment and making mention on how, well, at times folks fall out and then they get back together. One of the things that I said to you is that she now admits to taking part in what she calls toxic politics. I'm curious, your take on that.
Yeah, think about this. The echo chambers we all live in, if you're not careful, can be really self-fulfilling prophecies. You saw this with Ann Coulter. You saw this with others on the conservative and the right side that have turned against President Trump when they didn't do what he wanted. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a very strong supporter of President Trump and what he stands for. She doesn't like the people around him sometimes, and I think that goes for any CEO of any corporation or any governor or mayor. So I think you're going to see some more pushback. President Trump still holds the reins, and I think he's still very much in charge of the party. You'll see that continue even after the midterms when they consider him a lame duck. We'll see if that actually takes place.
Yeah, we will dive more into this topic in about 5 minutes when we're joined by political analyst Mr. Alan Sanders right here on the Live Zone. Let's move on to, well, the other big story, and this happens to surround the U.S. military boat strike campaign that the Trump administration says is aimed at curtailing the flow of drugs right here in the U.S. In all, some 83 people have been killed in at least 20 strikes. The administration now says the drug cartel happens to be a terrorist organization and that they do not need congressional approval to move forward with attacks. Your response, sir?
Yeah, the Chinese government is the audience for this particular attack. You're going to see that along with Russia and a little bit of Iran. Iran is a little bit back on its heels. Now, you might ask, what does this have to do? This is Venezuela. Well, first of all, China is providing the precursors that are running through Colombia and Venezuela and other parts of Mexico. You're also going to see China move in across the Caribbean. This is very important. Travel to Costa Rica or to Panama, St. Martin, any Dominican, any Caribbean nation that was once very friendly to the United States, and you'll ask yourself, why is there a Chinese community here that doesn't even speak Spanish or English? And what are they doing here? It's interesting. Of course, they're shopkeepers, et cetera. But the Chinese government, through various lease, lend, hold agreements, similar to the U.S. did in Europe after World War II, have taken over both the shipping industry, the diesel, the fuel industry, the groceries, and the food industry. They have grocery stores that rival any others in the United States right there in Central America. And I think there's a push to kind of get a foothold, and this is who the audience is.
Yeah, something we will see unfold right before our very eyes. Yet again, Mr. Arif Halaby, always good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us on the Live Zone.
Thank you, Guy. Have a great day.
And yet again, let me remind you that we will discuss all things surrounding Jeffrey Epstein in about 5 minutes with Mr. Alan Sanders. Now on to a story that's gaining nationwide attention. The driverless taxi revolution, well, it just hit warp speed in a major way. Waymo now rolling out rides on freeways across San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Phoenix, marking a landmark escalation in the battle between innovation and vested interests. But behind the milestone lurks a sharp-edged tension. Labor groups and city regulators are digging in their heels. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is senior Young Voices contributor Ed Tarnowski right here on the Live Zone. Good to see you, Ed. Happy Monday to you.
It's nice to be on. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, Ed, so let's jump right into this. I'm hoping you can elaborate on a recent article you wrote where you discuss these crackdowns and whether or not they are truly about public safety and or about protecting legacy interests from a future that's already here.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I use Boston as one of the most recent examples, as it was one of the most stark. But what we saw in Boston is advocates on this, the Teamsters Union with support of members of the city council, was asking for a new ordinance that would that Waymo described would essentially make Boston the first city to ban autonomous vehicles based on vibes. Essentially, what that's coming from is one of the things that they invoke for a reason for this ordinance and for these restrictions on autonomous vehicles in Boston is safety. Yet we see Waymo's newest safety data showing a 91% decrease in serious injury accidents in their cars compared to human drivers. So we're just not seeing a lot of the messaging line up to reality, which leads me to believe that a lot of it comes more about influence, as many of their they're representing many workers who are considered competitors to Waymo.
Yeah, and it's no secret, many would really argue that the AV restrictions often protect incumbent power structures and not public safety. What say you?
Well, I certainly agree. I mean, we see, as I use Boston as one example, one of the things that the ordinance would do is put members of people who are, in unions representing taxi drivers and other potential competitors to autonomous vehicles on a board that would be, deciding the fate of autonomous vehicles in the city. So certainly there we see examples of, it's more about, it's leaning more into protecting power structures than about safety, because if it were truly about safety, with a 91% reduction in serious injury accidents among Waymos over human drivers, that seems to be the best way to be moving towards safer roads to me, over banning them.
So, Ed, with that being said, how would Waymo's freeway expansion really change the stakes for, let's say, unions, regulators, and most importantly, consumers?
Right. Well, I think this is a really exciting time that we're seeing this expansion to highways. I'm really excited to see the new data that we're going to see because, going onto highways is a little bit different than driving in cities. Either new higher speeds, there are variables introduced. So we're only going to see more data, which is exciting. But I think what it means for consumers is increased competition, which is always good for consumers. That could mean cheaper rides across the board, as other competitors are going to be looking over their shoulders, seeing how they can try to retain their consumers, and then we're going to see more options for people. Further, I think a lot of people are going to see this, particularly again, special interests, certain unions are going to see this as increased competition. So I think that Americans should keep a watchful eye of the root of why people are acting or pushing certain legislation that is, looking to restrict innovation, because we don't want to see them deciding for consumers. We want individuals to be deciding on the products and services that they use.
Ed, we'll have to leave it there. Yet again, Mr. Ed Tarnowski is with the Senior Young Voices. He's a contributor and kind enough to join us right here on the Live Zone. We truly appreciate your time, my friend.
Thanks for having me on the show.
You bet. Well, the House of Representatives seems to set to vote tomorrow on a bill forcing the release of, yet again, the Epstein files. The bill would compel the Justice Department to release all of its records related to the latest convicted sex offender. To discuss the vote's historical and political ramifications, we welcome former Time Magazine senior reporter, attorney, and professor of political science at St. Peter's University, Mr. Alan Sanders, back here on the Live Zone. Good to see you, my friend, and welcome back to the show.
Always a pleasure, Guy.
All right, Alan. So what does the bipartisan measure mean for the president as the vote now really becomes a reality?
Well, the handwriting has been on the wall now for weeks, and the president never likes to be a loser. And so I think he's just decided to join the bandwagon, for the moment at least, in order to look victorious.
So why do you think that this has become such an obsession for supporters and detractors of the president?
Well, for supporters, this is a broken promise. The president campaigned on releasing the files. His leading advisors, soon upon coming office, said they would release the files. And now we've had basically a stalling on this and sort of a cover-up. So for the supporters, this is a broken promise, and they're angry about that. For opponents of the president, again, the same thing. This is a broken promise. And so Democrats and others who oppose the president want to point out that the president has broken his promise. And for them, it's the same thing as other broken promises, such as lowering prices on day one or ending the Ukraine war on day one. So this is yet another broken promise that the Democrats and his opponents seek to capitalize on.
Yeah, well, it's the big question, and that question surrounds how big do you think these files could be, or shall I say bad they could be for the White House?
Well, apparently there's something there that the president doesn't want released. Now, it doesn't have to be criminality. It could be simply embarrassing things. We know that Epstein has already said embarrassing things in emails about the president, and he knows a lot about what's going on in the elite circle. So maybe it involves Trump's relationship with Putin, or it might involve Trump's relationship with other leaders that might be embarrassing. But we know that the president, for instance, has bowed before Putin. And so if it contains something embarrassing about the president's relationship with Putin, that might be enough for the president to want these things suppressed. But really, we don't know what's in there. But clearly, the president has not wanted these things released for months.
We'll end with this, and that is, if you had the opportunity to give the president advice, what advice would you give him?
Release it now. There's no need for a vote in the House of Representatives or the Senate or any other kind of vote. The president has the authority to release the files now. So if he truly wants transparency, as he has said in his latest tweets, release them now. No need for a House vote.
Yet again, we have been speaking with former Time Magazine senior reporter, attorney, and professor of political science at St. Peter's University, Mr. Alan Sanders, joining us here on the Live Zone. Make it a great day, my friend.
Take care.
All right, folks, if it's happening and it's happening now, we are taking you there. In this case, you're looking at, well, Chuck Schumer. He's delivering remarks in New York. Let's take a live look in.
Event in New York State, that's what it's called, the semi-quincentennial. That's 250 and whatever, some language or other. And it concludes a big stop in Schuylerville on December 12th and 13th, so we're just right in time. Time's ticking. Now is the time to pull out the stops to ensure that parks have all the funding they need to show the greatness of our beautiful country. Okay, I'm ready for questions on this subject first.
Sure. First of all, I hope it's not too early to wish you a happy birthday. I know you're about to celebrate Senator, so in advance.
I was born on Thanksgiving Day. And you've heard the story. Have people heard the story?
Well, I'm sure everyone has not.
It's a nice story. So I was born, my mom went into labor at 5 a.m. on Thanksgiving Day. And my dad got in their car, which was called a Packard.
Oh, yeah.
An old-fashioned car. Well, it was then, that was in existence back then. And to drive her to the hospital, which is a hospital called French Hospital in New York City. And French Hospital was run by an order of French nuns. Why an order of French nuns wanted to have a hospital in New York City, I don't know. Maybe they got to vacation there or whatever. But in any case, it's at 29th Street and 7th Avenue, okay? And that is important, as you'll see in a minute. So my dad drops my mom off, and in those days, there wasn't all this touchy-feely stuff in the birth room and all that. They sent the men down to a little room where they smoked cigars, paced the floor, and waited for the news of the blessed event. And of course, in those days, they didn't know if it would be a boy or girl. But it's about 8:30, and my father is a bit of a free spirit. Passed away a few years ago. He was 98. I miss him. But in any case, he was sort of a free spirit. He said, I'm at 29th and 7th. What's 4 blocks away? Macy's. I'll go watch the parade. He went to the parade at 9, stayed till it ended at noon, bumped into a friend of his who said, let's go into the nearby pub and celebrate the blessed event. P.S. I was born at 11 a.m. My dad showed up at 4 p.m., precipitating the first fight they had over me. Wasn't too bad because they were married a beautiful 72 years. Okay, questions on this subject? Thank you for asking.
So, as you so eloquently and poignantly pointed out, we are standing on hallowed ground.
Yet again, Chuck Schumer, speaking in New York, apparently seems to be somewhat vibrant and very happy. Obviously, we know it has been a quite tough time for the senator surrounding all things regarding the government shutdown that has now come to an end. Meanwhile, in a region defined by resilience and hope, a new chapter is now unfolding. The war has changed the landscape of the Middle East, but what lies ahead? You see, as the dust begins to settle after the conflict between Israel and Hamas, the questions loom larger than ever. What will it take for recovery? How will the balance of power shift? And who will emerge as the voices of peace? Joining us to discuss that and so much more is Mr. Harley Lippman, foreign policy expert back here on the Live Zone. Good to see you, Harley. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Good to see you as well.
Harley, let's talk about a developing story. We know that Israel now claiming the military that they have killed a Hezbollah operative in southern Lebanon, a region that has witnessed several attacks despite the ceasefire between Israel and the Iran-backed group. What's the latest on this?
Well, the latest is that Israeli policy is now different. That while Hezbollah has been severely weakened like Iran, they're trying to come back. They're rearming, rebuilding, retraining. And Israel is trying to make sure that the win they had lasts and is successful. So they have to keep attacking Hezbollah, among other enemies, to make sure that Israel keeps the victory that they achieved in the recent war.
Harley, what would you say happens to be the most pressing challenges facing both the Israelis and Palestinians in the immediate aftermath of the war?
I think for the Palestinians, it's to look in the mirror and decide what's more important, to govern and fulfill your destiny and try to live at peace with your neighbor, or is your priority to destroy Israel? They really have to do some soul searching and make sure that they know what they want. Because, we speak about Palestinian nation, but in the eyes of many Palestinians, that's a replacement for Israel. And that obviously is unacceptable to Israelis and to many nations around the world. So I think that's the reckoning that the Palestinians have to go through. For Israel, I think that, they want the peace to last. They're incredibly relieved they have the hostages back, even though there are still 2 more dead bodies to get back. They see Israel as Israelis see their country as stronger than ever, as the rising tiger in the region, and militarily, it is certainly a superpower in the region now.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, and some would even argue that there happens to be a humanitarian crisis that continues to deepen, if you will. What urgent measures really need to be taken in order to address the needs of civilians affected by the conflict?
Well, when you say humanitarian crisis, I guess you must mean in Gaza is what
That
you're
is correct, sir.
referring to.
Yes, sir.
So I think that now that the fighting has stopped, I think the goal, number one, is to make sure that Hamas doesn't hijack the food, because that's been the biggest problem. They've been so successful at fooling the world. Finally, the United Nations themselves admitted that over 85% of their food deliveries were hijacked by Hamas terrorists and their supporters. So everybody was blaming Israel, but Hamas was hijacking the food because they were running out of money. And this was the biggest revenue producer, as they would charge exorbitant prices for this food to Gaza civilians, exploiting their own people. And they would, of course, prioritize their own fighters while they were starving Israeli hostages. So it was a terrible story, but that is over now. So I don't see a humanitarian crisis in that region the way it was before. I think it's without fighting, I think things are going to go pretty well in terms of food supplies.
Yeah, and with that being said, I'm curious, how significant are grassroots peace initiatives among civilians on both sides?
Well, I think they're very significant. I would say that on the Israeli side, the Israelis who were attacked on October 7th were the most pro-Palestinians Israelis in Israeli society. So when you say both sides, again, it sounds like a moral equivalent. I would say there was bad guys and good guys. The Israelis were just trying to live at peace with their neighbor. Remember, Israel withdrew from Gaza over 15 years ago. So Israel has no interest in interfering in we'll call it a Palestinian nation, even though it didn't have complete full rights. I think that from the Palestinian side, I think that it's very valuable to nurture opposition to Hamas, because it's not sustainable having Hamas, and that goes to a deeper issue about disarming. That was one of the 20 points of the peace plan that Trump put forward, and it appears that the West is losing interest in forcing the disarmament of Hamas. And if you don't disarm Hamas, here are the consequences. A, no Arab nation that's going to work on reconstruction will put money or soldiers into Gaza as long as Hamas has weapons. I can tell you that for sure. They will not get in the middle of that. So Gaza is going to remain in misery. And it also means the war will be prolonged, because Israel under Bibi Netanyahu has just stated categorically that he will disarm Hamas one way or another. If the United States and the West doesn't do it, or Arab nations don't do it, Israel will do it. So it's essential that everybody follows through on the terms of the peace plan and doesn't get weak. The only way you're going to have peace for the Palestinians and Israelis is for Hamas to be disarmed, and whoever takes over in Gaza really cares about the Palestinians and wants to live at peace with their neighbor Israel. That's the only avenue for a good outcome.
I have said it, and I'll say it again. I think we can all agree that we simply want peace within that region. Yet again, we've been speaking with Mr. Harley Littman, foreign policy expert, joining us right here on the Live Zone. We truly appreciate your time, sir.
My pleasure.
All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. On the flip side of that break, we're talking Bitcoin. Would you pay for, let's say, a soda, a hamburger with Bitcoin? Apparently, it's the latest rage. We'll discuss it next, right here on the Live Zone. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Well, early last week, Square enabled about 4 million U.S. merchants to start accepting Bitcoin payments with zero fees through 2026. For many small businesses, this is being called the biggest shift in payment tech since Apple Pay. Helping merchants navigate this change is Sovereign, a startup-founded company that started to, well, let's just say, all by a former financial advisor and small business owner who understands how inflation in credit card fees eat away at Main Street margins. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is Mr. John Bolcom. He is a Sovereign executive on guiding merchants through Bitcoin adoption. John, good to see you, my friend, and welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Good to be here with you.
All right, let's start with the basics. How Bitcoin payments work at a checkout. I am so intrigued.
So it's pretty straightforward, Guy. It should be just about as easy as using your phone to pay with Apple Pay or Google Pay. What you're going to see is that when a merchant opts in with Square, they can just make it as a payment option for their customers at the point of sale. And they'll actually flip the screen around and just give you a QR code where you can scan. Essentially, that's the Bitcoin address for the business. You can just scan it with your phone and send Bitcoin through your own wallet. You can also send it through Cash App if you happen to use one of Square's other products. But it's very simple. It's instantaneous. And frankly, it's very exciting for small businesses to have this option available to them starting now.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it reminds me of something out of the Jetsons. And for all the Gen Zers that are watching, are like, hey, what the heck is that? It was a cartoon about the future. But anyway, we could discuss that another time, John. I'm curious, with regard to the business benefits, we know that no credit card fees, faster payments, and really attracting new customers, all things surround this innovative process.
Right. So the last 5 years, for those of you who followed the Bitcoin story, it's really been about storing value. It's really been proving itself over the last 5 years as a store of value. And what I think with something like this Square rollout of Square Bitcoin, we're going to see Bitcoin improve and prove itself as a medium of exchange as well. So as you'll recall, or some of your watchers, listeners might know, Bitcoin was started as peer-to-peer electronic cash. And so the story for the past 5-10 years has been, it's a speculation and nobody knows what it is. And, maybe it's just used by criminals. Well, clearly now Main Street is using it as everyday money. And that's pretty exciting to see. I think that a small business that is really been struggling with inflation over the last 5 years, it's been pretty acute since 2020. They might want to look into Bitcoin not only as something that you can accept payments for, but also as something that you can store your value in long term. And what we're talking about here is purchasing power, right? A small business's costs go up when inflation goes up, and therefore they have to either pass on those costs to their customer or eat into their own profit margin. So this Square rollout is exciting for a number of reasons, but for me, it's going to give small businesses in Main Street a fair shot in dealing with this inflationary environment that we're living in.
Yeah. John, they say the proof is in the pudding, and so I'm hoping you could provide us with some pudding, or in this case, an example of a business that's actually utilizing this right now.
So, Guy, you're familiar with Compass Coffee, the coffee chain here in D.C. Well, just a few days ago, I bought coffee and a pastry with Bitcoin at one of their locations. So they were actually one of the beta testers. They turned it on in the middle of October, about a month before Square rolled it out to their 4 million merchants around the world. And it was really easy. And anybody could go to a Compass Coffee location around DC today and go ask your cashier if you could pay with Bitcoin. And it's very easy, right? Like I said, it's just about the same experience as you might tap your phone to use Apple Pay or Google Pay. And then I'll also share another new business that's about to open here in DC that will accept Bitcoin called PubKey. It's actually going to be on 7th Street, about 3 blocks from Capital One Arena. And they have the Square terminal. They're going to be accepting Bitcoin from day one, and they'll actually offer a discount to customers who pay with Bitcoin. Wow. So it's really exciting. I would also recommend checking out the Bitcoin District Initiative, which is going around to farmers markets, small businesses all over the city, and helping people understand why they might want to accept Bitcoin per payment. So it's very early days, right? It's only about a week in, but it's going to be exciting to see how this proliferates around the district. And I think it's going to be normal. In a couple of years here, guys, it's going to be just as normal to pay with cash, card, or Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And for people like me who are interested in the space and advising businesses on the benefits of Bitcoin at Sovereign, this is kind of a monumental couple of weeks here as we roll this out.
You made mention of Compass Coffee. I happen to know the guys and gals behind that whole concept personally, and so why am I not surprised? They are always on the cusp, if you will, of what's happening in the near future. Well, the future has now become the present, and it's a reality. And it's so cool to know that folks are actually utilizing this on a daily basis right now. John, folks that want to find out more information, how would one go about to do so?
Yeah, so you can check out Sovereign. Again, we're a professional services firm helping small businesses understand, integrate, and benefit from Bitcoin. So you can just go to SOVREIGN.io. There's actually free resources that you can educate yourself on Bitcoin if you want to go check those out. And then Square, you can just go to squareup.com. There's going to be a link to their Bitcoin offering right there on their website. And anybody can find me online, just my name, @JohnBalcom, if you want to message me, talk about this for your business, why you might want to integrate Bitcoin as a payment or as a savings technology. And yeah, Guy, really appreciate the opportunity to talk Bitcoin with you today.
But of course, truly valuable information and something I think we all really need to find out more about. Yet again, Mr. John Balcom, Sovereign Executive, joining us right here on the Live Zone. We truly appreciate your time.
Thanks very much.
All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. On the flip side of that break, let's have a little fun, shall we? In this case, we're talking about Gen Z ladies saying bye-bye to the good old US of A and moving abroad. Kyle on the mic joins us next, right here on the Live Zone. Guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Time now for our Monday Talkers with the man who's celebrating all things Founders Day. Hey. Kyle on the mic joining us right here in the LZ. What's going on, my man?
Hey, man, I'm feeling great, man. A great Monday. It's a great energized Monday, too.
Yeah.
All right. I think because, when we're together, it's good energy with you guys.
Oh, man, that's
You're like my coffee in the morning right now.
Well, I got to tell you, you're my hero. I got a chance to check out the Wizards the other day. They were doing a open house and got a chance to see the locker room. I walk in and I hear this voice. And I'm like, I know that voice. And I turn around, it's this guy hosting, as he does oh so well.
Thank you.
And showed me and my brother a lot of love, man. So I truly appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all for coming. We needed y'all there. All right?
One thing's for sure, they definitely need you.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about some of the stories you, my friends, are discussing at home. Did you hear a new survey from Gallup finds 40% of women and girls between the ages of 15 and 44 say they would leave the U.S. permanently if they could. The increase applies to both married and single women. This is 4 times more compared to, 2014 when they last did the study. Gallup found that nearly twice as many women want to leave the U.S. compared to men. This is so interesting to me, Kyle, because that's my sister. She's gone. She lives in Zurich now, yeah.
Wow. Well, you traveled around the world, too. I mean, I can find a place. I just learned. Well, New England is in the U.S.
Yeah,
I was saying,
yeah,
but still, but I don't know. Some people are really getting sick and tired of the American lifestyle. When it comes to overseas, you have like health insurance, better schooling. So maybe they want to leave because of that, but I don't know. I've been hearing that a lot actually recently. A lot of people say, you know what, I'm ready to leave the U.S. And I'm like, I don't know, lately, because we have a lot of freedom here.
Yeah.
And sometimes it may be good benefits somewhere else, but you can't be living like it's your B-Day every single day overseas, okay?
Joey, do me a favor. Put up that B-roll again of these ladies. It's just, I love it when we have B-roll and you get a chance to check out the women that are actually walking by. In this case, this woman happens to be on the phone. She doesn't look like she's actually the age of what we're making reference to, but the mere fact that we're using this as B-roll, I think it's the absolute funniest.
It's interesting.
All right, so there you have it. And look, they're saying, you know what, the heck with the good old US of A. We're now going to overseas. Producer Joey back now with the next story. What you got, my man?
All right, producer Joey here, and I want you guys to just hear me out on this one, please. A Labubu movie could be in the works. You guys know Labubus. They were very popular this
is that what
summer.
That is?
Yeah,
okay.
Sony Pictures has reportedly picked up the screen rights to these Chinese monster dolls. And they took off in popularity. Since then, they've inspired knockoffs, songs, cartoons, and now maybe a movie. My first question to you guys is, who should play, here, look at the dolls. What actor do you think could play one of these? I say Danny DeVito. How about you guys?
I don't know. I feel like you gotta find someone like y'all how to do like the trolls. I know Rihanna already did the trolls.
Yeah.
So who can be a Labubu? Maybe like a Kevin Hart. I'd be like a Labubu.
Definitely. Yeah.
Or like a Zendaya.
Okay. I was thinking Adam Sandler.
Yes,
like that.
yes, okay.
So it has to be someone that can do voices very well.
Right. Maybe a Tiffany Haddish just to add some like type of spin to it. I mean, I think it's genius to make a Labubu movie. I mean, everything you had like the trolls, you had the Alvin and the Chipmunks. Now you gotta have the Labubu monsters. I mean, I think it'd be great, but I don't know. I'll be really interested to see who would get casted for this, because it has to be somebody with like personality and a good voice like Guy. So I'm putting Guy out there.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm putting you out there.
You know what? We are your new Labubus. Congratulations. I have to hear. Guy has the shape up line. We are here. Okay.
and oh, by the way, we can't forget about producer Joey. He has to be.
Yes. He's producer. He's producing it. All right. He's producing it.
All right. As we know, Thanksgiving is quickly approaching. Actually, it's hard to believe it's next week, Kyle.
I feel like we literally was just saying Happy Halloween.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's here in a major way. And now the most popular Thanksgiving side dish in America has been revealed, according to the survey. And it's funny, it's called the State of the Sides Survey by Campbell's. Stuffing remains the most popular side dish. Mashed potatoes came in second place, followed by sweet potatoes. Then there's mac and cheese and green bean casserole.
In that order?
In that order.
Okay.
I know where you're going with this.
It depends whenever Thanksgiving or whoever you're being thankful with, okay? Because stuffing is not my calling, or not my family calling.
Yeah.
I would think mac and cheese would be like, probably should be top 2.
Yeah.
I mean, greens, I think that should be higher on the list. But they even say greens. No, it's a casserole.
Yeah, green bean casserole. Like that.
Maybe next year. All right? Not this year. You know, happy Thanksgiving to all, but that is not my top 5. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, yet again, it depends on where you are dining at.
Right.
And I can tell you, my family, we don't have mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Didn't have that. Definitely sweet potatoes, though.
Sweet potatoes, and I'm not really I don't really care for sweet potato pie. I mean, to each his own. Don't take anything. Hit my card from it now. But, I mean, mac and cheese, stuffing, that's not really, it may be there, but it ain't like there.
Right.
But mac and cheese, collard greens, string beans, Yeah, but to each his own.
Well,
it's like Family Feud. Like, who's doing the surveys?
Right.
Because obviously this ain't the survey we all going for.
Well, that survey found that 63% of Americans prefer sides over turkey, and nearly half say they would be happy with no turkey at all, just sides.
I love ham, so give me the ham. I mean, turkey, yes, have it, because Thanksgiving you think of the turkey. But
right.
I could probably go. It depends what type of turkey though, because some turkey can be a little dry.
Yeah.
So it depends what type of turkey, but I agree. I can kind of second that. If there's no turkey, I'm alright.
For me, the turkey. So what my parents do now is they deep fry it. It
Yes.
has to be the deep fried
Cajun.
turkey.
Cajun
yes.
turkey.
Oh gosh.
Come on, I'm getting hungry now.
Okay, yeah, maybe we need to end the segment so we can go and eat.
Thanksgiving could be today. How about that for lunch? All right.
Kyle on the mic joining us with all things what we call our Monday Talkers. Working on anything?
Yes. Stand Up with Kyle. We have an interview series that's airing this Wednesday. We announced our guest, Mr. Belair himself, Jabari Banks, will be our guest this Wednesday. So make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, Kyle on the mic, and follow us on all social medias at Stand Out with Kyle.
Absolutely love it. Kyle on the mic joining us with an assist by producer Joey. We call it our Monday Talkers right here on the Live Zone. We'll take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone on a Feel Good Monday. It is now 10 minutes away from the top of the hour. How about we do a little celebrity dish, shall we? Life with Lindsay joins us to do just that on a Feel Good Monday. Cello, my friend.
Hello, it's always good to see your beautiful face on Monday.
Oh, thank you. Same, right back at you. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about, Lindsay. We're going to kick it off with what took place in Vegas over the weekend. Bravo star Wendy Osefo marked her first public appearance since she and her hubby were hit with multiple fraud charges. Wendy attended BravoCon in Vegas, joining her co-stars on stage at Caesars Forum. Here's what she had to say.
It's an unfortunate situation, and right now I can't say too much, but I will say when the time is right, I will share my story with everyone. And for now, they're just allegations, so we will continue to push forward.
All right, there you have it, Lindsay. We'll continue to push forward, and they're just allegations. What say you?
I mean, this is just the legal correct answer to say, right? But of course, everybody wants to know, and she's not giving any kind of direction either way, just when the time is right. So, I mean, of course, that has everybody sitting on the edge of their seats, and maybe the TV producers kind of coached her on saying that too. It's like the tease you always talk about, Guy. But it's just like, come on, what happened? We want to know. And we're just not going to know until the court case happens. But whatever happens in that court case, it'll be interesting to what she says after that. I mean, really, we just have to sit and wait, I think.
I can tell you this, no matter what the attorneys, let's say I was caught up in all of this and they said something to me about, Guy, what you can and cannot say. If I'm not guilty, the first thing I'm going to say is, no matter what, I didn't do it. I don't know what's going on. Obviously, this will all play out in the courtroom, and I can't wait for that to happen. Why? Because I'm not guilty. I didn't get that from her.
Well, I didn't even think about that. You're 100% correct. She definitely didn't say that at all. And now that you bring that up, she's looking a little bit more suspect by the minute, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we're going to have to wait and see what plays out. We also know that apparently she and Ashley Darby have a little beef as well, and that's something we'll have to keep a close eye on, too. But then again, that's what the show is all about, drama. Is it not, Lindsay?
Right. Listen, I like peace, but if there's no drama on the TV show, nobody's watching. They tune in for the train wreck. I mean, that's just what it is, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of train wrecks, I guarantee you there will be a train wreck at some point with regard to the new Real Housewives of Rhode Island series. Take a look at the trailer.
In Rhode Island, everyone knows everyone. People here, they don't look down on other states, but they are weirded out that other states exist.
It's teeny. It's a blip, but to us, it's the center of the universe.
Welcome to Rhode Island, where nobody tells anybody the truth and everybody just lies to each other's faces but talk behind their back. Welcome. I love it here.
All right, there you have it. Welcome. I love it here. We're talking about Rhode Island, Lindsay. Are you chomping at the bit to check this out?
Lots of money and drama. What else do you need on the Real Housewives, right? You want to get the behind the scenes of what happens in these beautiful mansions and that lifestyle we all wish we had. So yeah, I'm here for it. It's going to be good. There's going to be drama for sure.
All right, so I can tell you this. I'm not one for really like reality TV. I don't really watch, and I don't watch any of it. But that looks good. I don't know. Maybe to your point, it happened to be the homes that I saw. But what's also interesting to me, Lindsay, is that I lived in New England for at least 10 years of my life. And, if you're in New England, let's say Massachusetts, Connecticut, what have you, you're not really checking on Rhode Island. And so when she said that...
That's fair.
I mean, I'm just being honest. But hey, I guess they will prove me wrong once the show drops and we get a chance to feast our eyes on it. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I mean, I'm not really into reality TV either, Guy. But honestly, I have to say I'm giving away my age here. When the first Real Housewives came out, that was my jam. But not because I felt like it was real life. I used to kind of watch it as my entertainment. But it's always, I love the glamorous lifestyle, even if they're flipping tables at $1 million dinner or whatever it may be. It's just like, God, I wish I had $1 million to waste and flip that table. So I think that as long as you watch it, it's like entertainment, but it really is these people's lives. So I think that people will definitely want to watch, especially people in the northern region, and especially because whether they want to see it or they're kind of hating, like we never checked for Rhode Island, they're going to check just to see what they're doing, to hate on it.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'm one of them. I will watch at least the first episode. So, and if you don't, I'll let you know what happens. Hey, you made mention of $1 million dinners, and I can guarantee you that this couple, well, they have that amount of money to do just that. I'm talking about Brittany Mahomes opening up when it comes to her relationship with hubby Patrick Mahomes. Brittany has been candid about the struggles she's faced while married to the NFL superstar, saying, quote, "It's actually really sad how disrespectful some women are, but they are a waste of my time and not going to disturb my peace." Whew. She has a lot to say about this, Lindsay. What do you have to say?
Well, first off, if she has to make that statement, it's absolutely ruined her peace, okay? Because she's making the statement. Because if your peace wasn't ruined, you wouldn't state that. But it goes for any rock star, whether it's a football player, an entertainer, rapper, R&B singer. It doesn't even matter. If your man is in the spotlight, there is going to be super fans, we'll have to say. And of course, now with social media, you have more access to the stars. Back in our day, we didn't have social media, right? So I think that she's just saying to deal with all of it's a lot, but also, you're married to a superstar. So unfortunately, that just comes with the lifestyle, I think.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head with that. She made mention of not disturbing her peace. Yeah, you wouldn't have said anything if that happened to be the case.
Correct.
And so, yeah, it's definitely disturbing the peace. But that doesn't mean perhaps there's an issue at home. Maybe she's just talking about what she has to deal with all the women trying to slide in his DM and what have you on a daily basis.
It goes down in the DMs, baby. That's always been a thing since Instagram started. So that's what it is.
Well, if folks want to DM you, Lindsay, and find out about your radio show, what will your response be?
Well, it depends on what they say, but I'm always positive. That's the legally correct answer.
There you go. Maybe Wendy Osefo can follow in your footsteps. We'll have to wait and see. Life with Lindsay joining us for a little celebrity dish right here on the Live Zone. We truly appreciate you, Lindsay. All right, guys, on the flip side of this break, we're talking all things go-go. Yes, the founder of the Go-Go Museum and Cafe, Ron Moulton, joins us next right here on the Live Zone. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. It is now 1 o'clock, the top of the hour, and it is time we officially put you in the pocket. That's because Go-Go Awareness Week has officially kicked off, and it's all things to celebrate Go-Go, the music of D.C. right here in the nation's capital. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is a man who really needs no introduction. We're talking about the founder and CEO of the Go-Go Museum and Cafe, Mr. Ron Moulton, back here on the Live Zone. And he brings guests. Good to see you, my friend.
Hey, how you doing, brother? I'm here with my guy Darren X, who helped us kick off the voting for the Go-Go Awards.
Wow. How cool is that? So, Ron, this is a big day, and correct me if I'm wrong, but just minutes ago, you all held a press conference to discuss all things surrounding Go-Go Awareness Week, which I got to tell you, I'm so glad that this is actually underway now, because it's long overdue, and it's something that so many folks can now stand loud and stand proud and say they celebrate Go-Go.
Yes, sir. Well, it's a very important week. We're kicking off the voting for the 2026 Go-Go Awards, which will also celebrate the 50 years of Go-Go next year. But also this week, we have some things going on. Today, glow posters, historic glow posters, will be sold here in a conversation with one of the family members who own glow posters. We also have tomorrow free food with Chef Angie. You go on our website and register as we talk about the diaspora and its part in the music and culture. And then to me, the biggest thing is Friday and Saturday. Young people will be playing in the Go-Go Museum, competing like we did doing Go-Go Live. We're going to be streaming it live, and we're bringing young people back to the culture after 15 years of absence of young people performing in schools and the middle and high schools in Washington, D.C., where we know there's a direct correlation of violence with young people not having things to do, like Go-Go, which saved a lot of people's lives, like Darren X, who played with Red Essence and helped create Bounce Beat with TCD, and everything we see today. So these are some of the great things that we're having. And Darren X worked with us actually to put together the polling and also help with this museum. So that's why I have him here with me, because he's a very important figure in Go-Go music as well.
Yeah, yet again, I said you need no introduction, nor does he. Darren X, I'm curious, to be a part of this, to know that not only that you're a part of it, but if there happened to be a Mount Rushmore of Go-Go, quite honestly, my friend, you'll probably be on it.
I would defer that to some legends that taught me the business. So I'm humble enough to understand I'm just standing on the shoulders. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But one of the things, not only are you standing on the shoulders, but you're making sure you deliver that message to the young folk right here in the nation's capital. And God knows so many young kids, they look up to you all, and they're looking for an outlet, and you're now providing them with the platform to really shine as well.
Oh, yeah. You want to speak on that?
Yeah, so it's very important, because me as a kid, I saw something that I wanted to be. I knew the person that I wanted to emulate. So I picked up his instrument, and then I became my own person. Without that, I don't know which direction I would have went in, but music was something that gave me an outlet other than sports. You know, so I think it's very important that you give kids options. The more options they have, the more better outcomes you have.
And we know in society now, in some neighborhoods, in some places, the coolest guy on the block is the guy with the biggest gun in their hand. We want to make the coolest guy, the guy who could play the drums at congas, the better again. That's what we want to bring back to DC. There was a time the coolest guy on the block was the guy in the best and coolest go-go band. So we're bringing that culture back that was taken away from us slowly after the control board came to DC in 1996, and they took music and trades out of our schools. And then when it was criminalized, they took away all the clubs in 2010. So 14 years later, we're bringing the culture back that young people used to have when they had the teen clubs, where they can enjoy the culture and music in constructive environments. So we want to help make that happen.
All right, I got about 10 seconds left, and so, Ron, I want to make sure yet again that folks want to take part in voting for the 2026 Go-Go Awards. What does one need to do?
They can go to our website, www.gogomuseumcafe.com. They can go to Go-Go Royalty. They can go to Heartbeat in the Conga Hour website, or DC Music. We are all working together to push this music and culture. Can't no one person or one group of people do this together. It's going to take all of us, and that's why I'm so happy we're all coming together to do this as a unit.
Yeah, they say it takes a village, and that village is, well, quite honestly, spearheaded and led, I would argue, by you, sir. Mr. Ron Moulton and Darren X joining us right here on the Live Zone. Truly appreciate your time, fellas.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
You bet. All right, guys. Following a breaking news story out of Denver, Colorado, where officials there now discussing a massive fentanyl seizure. This arguably happens to be the biggest one yet. Let's go ahead and take a live look in.
It's got 10 bricks that probably look like, I haven't looked into those yet, but we're looking at a couple hundred bags of blue pills. Again, to put this into perspective, here's what we seized. 198 kilos, about 1.7 million counterfeit fentanyl pills. Another 12 kilos of fentanyl powder. Again, this is the largest single seizure of fentanyl in the history of the state of Colorado. We also seized 2.5 pounds of meth. I want to be clear that this citizen did exactly the right thing. The moment that he realized that something was wrong, he stopped, he stepped back, and contacted the authorities. Because of his actions, we were able to remove a significant amount of dangerous narcotics out of circulation. Drugs that could have easily made it to our streets and to our communities. To be clear, this reporting party undoubtedly saved countless lives, not only in Douglas County, but throughout Colorado and likely throughout our nation. This incident highlights the very clear and real danger that fentanyl poses to our community. Even in small amounts, fentanyl can be lethal. And it's hidden not only in counterfeit pills, it's hidden in storage units and hidden in many different forms. It's a serious threat, but I want to make something also very clear. We are dedicated to this crisis. Fentanyl and illegal illicit narcotics will not be tolerated in our communities. And particularly in the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, our deputies, our detectives, and our crime lab professionals are committed to keeping this community safe, and we will remain relentless in that mission. I want to thank the citizen who reported this, the storage facility staff and the management for their cooperation, and the deputies who responded quickly and professionally. I would also like to thank our federal partner, the Drug Enforcement Administration, and CBI for their quick response and partnership. None of us can do this job alone. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the Director of the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, Armando Sedalte.
Good morning. Thank you for coming here today to discuss this record fentanyl seizure that highlights the ongoing efforts of law enforcement to combat drug trafficking in our communities. I'm happy to be joined by these partners here that are vital to this fight and the fight that we take every day to make our communities safer. This massive seizure just mentioned that we've just talked about represents over hundreds of pounds of fentanyl pills alone. While the CBI certainly does not take credit for this seizure that occurred in Douglas County from this storage locker, what I'm here today to talk to you about is how these drugs were directly associated with what started as a CBI investigation earlier this year into a drug trafficking organization operating here in Colorado. Earlier this year, a wiretap investigation involving many partners, including CBI, identified a major drug trafficking organization linked to the Sinaloa cartel that funneled drugs into Colorado, led by two brothers who led that drug trafficking organization. That investigation led to multiple arrests and drug seizures earlier this year, but obviously not all the drugs the group produced were found. It turns out the fentanyl you see today was sitting in a storage locker for months. We now know that the storage locker belonged to a drug courier linked to this organization. Once the courier was arrested, the storage unit bill went unpaid. CBI agents conducted search warrants and identified suspects in connection with this drug trafficking ring. The sheer volume of drugs found in this storage locker indicates a very sophisticated operation, likely producing millions more pills. We extend our sincere gratitude to the Drug Enforcement Administration for their cooperation in our original joint investigation, and of course, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office for the storage unit's discovery and investigation following. These joint partnerships are crucial in identifying and dismantling drug rings. such as the one believed to be associated with this drug cartel. The seizure of these drugs represents countless lives saved, as these dangerous substances will never reach our communities. Our mission to get drugs off the streets and put drug traffickers behind bars and make Colorado safer remains as vital as ever. Thank you.
Sheriff Weekly, Director Saldate, and also joined by our Rocky Mountain HIDTA Director, Keith Weiss. Personally, on behalf of DEA, I'm grateful to each of you and your agencies for your support, partnerships, and investigative collaboration. The first phone call from Douglas County to DEA actually went to a Douglas County task force officer who was assigned right here in this building to our DEA HIDTA task force. And as a federally deputized task force officer, they have access to all of the same databases, tools, and resources that our agents have. And as a result, within minutes of that phone call, they were able to link this seizure that you see here to an ongoing and active DEA investigation with tentacles along the southwest border and into Mexico. As mentioned earlier, this seizure has been linked to elements of the Sinaloa cartel, one of the most powerful cartels in Mexico and heavily involved in fentanyl trafficking. The Sinaloa cartel was designated earlier this year as a foreign terrorist organization, due in large part to its involvement in fentanyl trafficking. Had this amount of fentanyl hit the streets, numerous lives could have been lost. While we are limited in what we can say related to the specific investigation, know that DEA is relentlessly pursuing the Sinaloa cartel and working towards their elimination. We have identified an individual associated with this storage locker who is part of the organization and has been in custody since April of this year as a result of this multi-agency effort. The fact the individual has been in custody for the past 6 to 7 months in part corroborates why this storage locker had gone to auction. The individual is going through his criminal proceedings, and as a result, we are limited in terms of what we can share on his background. While there are countless captivating storylines that I don't doubt will be generated by this fentanyl seizure, from its record-breaking amount to a made-for-TV episode of Storage Wars, the bottom line is this seizure represents countless lives saved. We are going to continue to pursue those who traffic such poison into our communities, and while one pill can kill, one conversation can save.
We'll open it up for questions for Mr. Oleski and the other gentleman here. After that, we'll kind of have a full stop on the questions, just a few, and then we'll have a demonstration of how easy it is to make these pills. That'll be coming up here. But first, if you'd like to start with questions.
I was just going to ask, how long, you said April he was arrested. You know how long that fentanyl has been sitting in that storage locker?
I do not know longer prior to that. The bill has gone unpaid now for several months and kind of corroborates the result of our investigative activities that, number one, our agents and our collective multi-agency task force was on the right network. This individual wasn't out there and able to traffic this poison into our communities. And as the sheriff mentioned, so grateful for the public coming in and this, the person who called in, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. But what I'll say in terms of how long it was sitting there is that there was a takedown that took place along the southwest border and here in Colorado. And that's what our folks do day in and day out, is target the networks, not only just here in Colorado, but tying down to the border and into Mexico. And that's our job, is to hold now those people who are trafficking this.
There you have it. Yet again, the big announcement coming out of Denver, Colorado, where officials there have made a massive seizure, arguably the largest in the state of Colorado. Some 198 kilos of fentanyl now off the streets. And obviously, this will save so many lives. We'll continue to monitor this press conference throughout the afternoon right here on the Live Zone. Let's switch gears to sports, shall we? In this case, we're talking Commanders. Yes, the Commanders took on the Dolphins over in Madrid yesterday, and yeah, they ended up falling flat. 16-13, the final score. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is our guy, NFL analyst and former NFL player, John Booty, back here on the Live Zone. Hello, John. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Guy. Good to see you, man.
All right. Yeah, I can hear it in your voice, and I'm feeling the same way. Let me start off with, did you go to Madrid? And if so, when are you coming back?
Well, I did not go. So I am back since I did not go.
Well,
I wish we had a chance, but we didn't get a chance to make it.
Yeah. Well, perhaps the only upside is that, you know, if you happen to drink or two, you'd get a sangria. Outside of that, it was pretty much, it wasn't good for the Commanders. I've lost count now. How many have they now lost? Is it 6 in a row?
6 in a row.
Wow.
Six in a row. And they had chances, Guy, and, you know, Ertz slipping in the end zone on a 4th down. They were getting stopped on certain downs, and Mariota making big plays with his legs, and the running backs playing well. And the defense stood up on 4th downs against the Miami Dolphins, and they were making plays, but the little things just got in the way. And that one crucial play, man, that Mariota wish he could take back in that overtime interception. Yeah.
So you made mention of the defense, and one of the things that you noted is that it wasn't perfect, but it didn't break. And what do I mean by that? We know that the defense at Dan Quinn's first game as the Commanders' defensive player caller, we saw the running back on the opposite team rush for, count them, some 120 yards. And so yet, you know, that's a big game for a running back.
It is a big game for a running back. And again, the Commanders, they have to be able to sit down at the edge. They were getting outside and running on the edge of the running backs with Miami Dolphins. And then all of a sudden, once they're successful there, then they start running up the middle. 120 yards plus is really good for a running back. At the same time, a bend but don't break defense. Okay, they're making those chunk yards. They're getting some good, they run the ball down the field. But now we got to blow our backs, and when they get in the red zone or 5 yards and in, and we got to make some big plays, and the Commanders did that. You don't want to do it all the time, but they did it.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about, I'm not calling for anyone's job, and I wouldn't want anyone to do that for me, but we're taking a look at that right there. That right there, that's the issue. And I'm talking about field goals. Not one, but 2 missed field goals. And one of which, I believe, correct me, but the game-winning field goal, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, but I believe it was some 46 yards out. That's a chip shot now in the NFL, is it not?
That is a chip shot for these kickers, and what I understand now, they get a chance to take the balls and on the beginning of the week and rub them down and adjust them just right for them to kick these new balls, whatnot. So, but again, pressure situations, you're paid professional at kicking. You're the best at it. You should be able to make those chip shots at 46. I don't think the wind or the atmosphere had any factor on that. And even if so, you still, you're right there. You got to make those plays, man. You really do.
All right, let's talk about the quarterback, in this case, Marcus Mariota. Played well in regulation, and then as soon as we got to overtime, it happened. Yeah, we're talking about that interception.
Yeah, he uses his legs good to get him down and in position to win a game in the fourth quarter. But in overtime, first play, I think it was first play, and the first series of the overtime, he wish he could take that one back. I don't know if it was pressure on him. I didn't see much pressure on it, but he got the ball out of his hands, and that defensive back just made a good play, undercut the receiver.
Yeah. So the Commanders now embark on the bye week, and I guess the big question is if they can, and how can they sneak into the playoffs with just 4 division games left, including not 1 but 2 games against the Philadelphia Eagles in the final 2 weeks. It's going to be a tough task for them.
Well, this is a tough task, big time, and a tough hill to climb, a tough mountain to climb. What they need to do this bye week is get some people healthy, get on the same page as the head coach, as the defensive coordinator. You just got to go back to look at each man, got to look themselves in the mirror and say, we have a shot. The Eagles are the strongest in our division. Let's take it one game at a time. I think when they come back, they play the Denver Broncos, I believe. No. And after the bye, I want to say. But it's up to a man. Let's start winning one game at a time after this bye, get some people healthy, and get our mindset straight.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, we're going to have plenty of time to do just that, get your mind right, as the young folk like to say, because they are, they have that. Go ahead.
And Guy, I want to apologize. We both sound so somber on this Monday because the Commanders, they did have some chances to win this football game.
Yeah. Well, John, one thing you do and one thing I think I do with regard to the Commanders, we keep it real. And, not that I'm an analyst or anything of the sort, but let's just move on to next year. And I say that because I'm serious. We haven't had any of our players, all of our starters, I don't think, play one game collectively together this whole season. And so, why push it? Why risk injury? Call it a day, and then let's come back and see what the Commanders could do next year. I mean, obviously, they did amazing things last year. Well, this year, they just haven't been together in order to produce those amazing moments, in my opinion.
Well, I hear you. And you wish all this stuff was happening last year, and last year was happening this year because they got all the injuries out the way, and all this back and forth as play call and all this stuff have been set. That have been the growing pains last year, but it's this year. So for me, as a former athlete, former competitor, we don't think to say, listen, let's just can this season. We got to go out and compete, because not just that, you got to compete for your spot on the roster next year. That you want to have a great showing as a backup. And then pride takes over too, Guy. And I know fans want to say, okay, we can get some good draft picks and whatnot out of this, but still, we can't tank the season. I'm not saying you said tank the season, but we got to finish strong. And we are going to always play spoiler as a team, as a player on some teams that didn't play well. In my career, we love to upset teams if you're not winning. Play spoiler, and that's your playoff team. That's your playoff game. You play spoiler to a team that's going into the playoffs.
Well,
if you can't make it.
Well, John, that's why you're the professional. That's why you played in the NFL for so long and did it all so well. And that's why I'm just sitting here on the other side of this TV camera, just chit-chatting and yib-yabbing at my mouth.
Hey, man, I'm waiting on that day where we have that the media combine where I can see you out there running the 40, do this drill. And then we're going to have a special tackling drill.
Well, if it involves you, I don't want any part of it. I'll tell you that. Yet again, John Booty joining us with the latest surrounding the Commanders. We truly appreciate your time, John. We'll chat soon. All right, guys. We'll take a quick break. Hey, on the flip side of that break, the countdown to Turkey Day. Yes? Can you believe it's just a little over a week away? In this case, we're discussing the best places to go for Thanksgiving. Chip Lupo from Wallet Hub joins us next, right here on the Live Zone. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Well, as you heard me make mention just a minute ago, yes, it's countdown to Turkey Day. I cannot wait. In this case, we're talking about America's favorite cities, or shall I say, best places to celebrate all things Thanksgiving. When it comes to studies, no one does it better than Wallet Hub. And when it comes to Wallet Hub, we chit-chat with this guy, Mr. Chip Lupo, back here on the LZ. Good to see you, Chip, and welcome back to the show.
Happy Monday to you, Guy. Can you believe it's we're a week and a half out?
Yeah.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Chip, in all fairness, it's funny because I made mention of this to a couple of friends over the weekend. Where I sit right here, there's a kitchen maybe 20 feet away from me, right over there behind this camera. Every day during Lion Lunch Hour, of course, our #1 show where folks come in and they do all things cooking. What do they bring? Food. And guess what they have been bringing as of late? Turkey with all the trimmings. I'm just about turkeyed out already, Chip.
Wow. Gonna spoil your appetite for the big day.
Yeah, but then again, no one cooks it like Mom. So perhaps I'll jump back on the bandwagon. Hey, we're talking about the best places to celebrate Thanksgiving. How did you all come up with this study, and what did we learn?
Well, what we did, Guy, is that we looked at the 100 most populated U.S. cities, and we measured them across dimensions such as Thanksgiving celebrations, traditions, parades, and whatnot, affordability, safety and accessibility, giving thanks, that covers things like community service, volunteer hours, and, of course, the Thanksgiving weather forecasts. We then applied 18 relevant metrics, and those range from everything from the cost for Thanksgiving dinner, share of delayed flights, volunteer opportunities, and, of course, forecasted precipitation.
Wow. Okay. So in that case, well, if it comes to weather, for me, I'd love to do it in Hawaii or, I don't know, maybe somewhere nice and sunny in California, head down to Florida, which I will do to go visit my mom this year. But I'm curious,
Okay.
what happened to be the top 5?
Yeah. Well, that's where you and I differ, Guy. I would much rather be somewhere somewhere in the Northeast in a nice, cool climate, fall-like weather. No. Now, of course, in D.C., you could get one or the other in D.C. on Thanksgiving Day. Now, as far as Washington, D.C. goes, 15th overall out of 100, a good solid number, above average in things such as Thanksgiving traditions, though there are a low percentage of holiday decoration shops per capita. Some people just love to do, just like Christmas, they love to decorate for Halloween, or for Thanksgiving, excuse me. It does rank high in what we call giving thanks, 3rd overall. There's a high percentage of charity organizations per capita, high number of volunteer hours. But as you might expect, Guy, 2 areas in which DC lags that probably kept it out of the top 10, safety and accessibility at 49th. There's a high crime rate, low perception of safety, and high traffic congestion. And then, of course, affordability. Now, there are an abundance of affordable restaurants with ratings of 4.5 stars, but it does rank high in the overall cost of Thanksgiving dinner, which means if you're going to go grocery shopping and do it up right, you're probably going to be paying a pretty penny for it.
Yeah. Well, gosh. Okay, so the top 3 then, Chip, can you tell us that?
Oh, absolutely. The #1 overall, I would think this would probably be right up your alley, Guy. San Antonio, Texas. Okay. It gets 2nd for weather forecast, so you can expect it to be mild at best. They rank high in affordability, safety and accessibility, about above average, and in celebrations and traditions. Now, what San Antonio has that the top 5 do not have is an abundance of pumpkin patches. Now that's key now, because Thanksgiving is not Thanksgiving without pumpkin pie, particularly, especially a good old-fashioned homemade pumpkin pie. 2nd, Atlanta. 3rd, Virginia Beach. 4th, Dallas, Texas. And 5th, this would really be right up your alley, Guy, Scottsdale, Arizona, in the middle of the desert for Thanksgiving. You can count on warm weather. And Scottsdale is a pretty tight-knit community, despite its being part of the Phoenix metro area. So there's a lot of Thanksgiving traditions and a lot of opportunities for community service.
Yeah, I was just there maybe 3 weeks ago in Scottsdale. It's absolutely beautiful there. You're right. It's right up my alley, and it's still warm during this time of the year. Hey, Chip, let's move on. In this case, we're talking about sports, but, well, not just any sport, all sports, and the best sports cities. Yet again, a study conducted by Wallet Hub. I am so curious, and I haven't had the opportunity to look ahead, so I have no idea where D.C. and the surrounding area happens to play. So do tell.
Well, what we did, guys, is that we ranked almost 400 cities across 50 key metrics related to the 5 largest sports in the U.S. football, baseball, basketball, soccer, and hockey. Washington, D.C., as you might expect, it's a sports town. 9th overall, did very, very well. It got above average ratings in such metrics such as. Now, what's interesting is that the Washington Nationals are, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, if maybe they won their World Series before the Capitals won the Stanley Cup. But baseball ranks lowest among the 5.
Really?
At 24. Still a solid number, 24th out of almost 400. What's interesting is 7th in soccer, and which was the highest, 15th in football, 16th in hockey, and again, national baseball, which of course would be the Nationals at 24.
That is so, Chip, that is so interesting. I've attended all of those sports, and so I would argue the most electric in Washington, D.C. happens to be going to a Caps game. I mean, it is just electric in there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Television does not do hockey justice. If you're on the fence about hockey, go to a match, even if it's a minor league franchise in your area. Go to a hockey match and just the electricity, enthusiasm, and just marvel at the athleticism of these guys. They're doing all these moves. You kind of lose the fact that, wait a minute, these guys are on ice skates, and they're still doing all this stuff. Still manage to get it, throwing a few punches.
You got our very own Annie Mae, who hosts there as well, and she's always rocking the red. And I mean, I'm telling you, it's truly electric. Real quick, with regard to the basketball aspect, you said D.C. ranked number or 11th rather, is the 11th. Am I getting that right? The 11th most popular?
Well, it ranks 11th out of the 400 in terms, and that just is in terms of fan engagement, things like that. It's not.
But here's the thing, Skip. I was at the Wizards game last night, and hey, I love all things Wizards. I'm a Wizards fan until the day I die. But they lost yet again. They are now 1-12 on the season, and so it's interesting that there happen to be so many fans that are sticking behind them. I always will, but yet again, truly interesting.
Well, let me ask you one question, Guy. Who gets the biggest parade if they win a championship out of the 5 major franchises?
Let's see. I covered the Nats parade when they won. I would say when the Caps won the championship, that was the biggest party that I've seen that night. I would think the biggest turnout, though, would be the Commanders. If they won, I mean, the whole city will go crazy. Yeah.
Because D.C. is a Redskins/Commander city. The parades they had in the 90s when they won the 80s and 90s when they won the 3 Super Bowls. So, yeah, it would be a parade unlike any other.
All right. Well, good stuff. Well, you are unlike any other, and we're glad we get a chance to chat with you yet again, Chip Lupo, discussing all things Wallet Hub studies right here on the Live Zone. We got to run, Chip. I truly appreciate you.
Anytime, Guy. We'll talk soon.
All right. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. On the flip side of that break, have you seen it? I'm talking about the video that's gone viral. Everybody is talking about it, but not only talking about it, they're watching this. That interview conducted by our very own Shamari Stone. He joined Good Day DC earlier this morning to break it all down. We'll do just that next, right here on the Live Zone. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone, it is now 1:35. So this next video happens to be not only the talk of the town, but the talk of the nation. Why do I say that? Because it has gone viral. Typically, I'll set it up, but I think the video can speak for itself. Producer Joey, let's go ahead and roll the tape.
There. God, where her mother at? Where this little girl mother at? Where they role models at?
So there you have it, a story surrounding an incident that took place in the nation's capital, and obviously we call that an MOS, a man on the street had that response. That response now going viral. Shamari Stone, our very own, conducted that interview earlier today. He got a chance to join Good Day DC where, well, he talked about just that, the interview. Why don't we go ahead and take a look.
Like this to one of your reports.
No, I haven't. I mean, some of my reports have gone viral, but this has just exploded worldwide. And, you know, it was a serious story. Here you have a 12-year-old girl accused of some serious crimes, robberies. And, you know, what we do is, as you all know, MOS, which is like man on street interview. So you just walk up to someone and say, hey, how do you feel about this? A 12-year-old girl accused of these robberies. And his reaction had me stunned. I was like, oh my gosh. And then, you don't want to laugh because he was serious. Like, where's the mother at? Where's the...
That's so, when it comes to Shamari Stone, he is so serious, but at the same time, he is such a funny guy. Producer Joy, let's bring that video up one more time. I wanted to play it in its entirety. Let's make sure the sound is on so we can see what the MOS, the man on the street, had to say when yet again posed with regard to this 12-year-old misbehaving.
Where her mother at? Where this little girl mother at? Where they role models at?
I absolutely love that. That reminds me of what? Hide your kids, hide your wives. Hide your husbands,
I grew up in the era of like viral news clips. Bed intruder, hide your kids, hide your wife. There were these guys, Shmo Yoho, who would just go around and make auto-tune versions of clips like this. And you have to imagine if this was 2009, it would be auto-tuned everywhere, right?
Where am I at?
Where am I at?
God, that is just so funny to me. Yet again, big high five going out to our very own Shamari Stone. He kept it together. That wouldn't have been the case for me. All right, folks. Hey, we'll take a quick break. On the flip side of that break, we're talking our talkers. Yes, intern John joins us. What are the stories we're chatting about? Single millennial women now fed up with their self-centered married friends. I can't wait to dig into that one. Coming up next, right here on the Live Zone. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. We are now 20 minutes away from the take. And this guy's going to be on it. Intern John joining us right here on the LZ. What's up, my man?
Pleasure to see you, dude. Always.
Happy Monday.
You too.
Yeah, good weekend?
Apparently. Heard my Instagram stories, I did. Yeah, that's great.
Hey, you're a great follow, by the way.
Hey, I try. I try to be.
If you haven't already done so, make sure you follow Intern John. But I want to get your take on some of the stories that we're talking about today, and folks at home are talking about as well. Obviously, our website, fox5dc.com. This one, and it's funny because it's two guys talking about this, and it pertains to the ladies. But I'll just jump right into it. Single millennial women now fed up with their self-centered married friends. A woman by the name of Ashanti has hopped on TikTok, and she has hundreds of videos and views on her video. But she's saying that single women are expected to forgive their married female friends for anything. As she puts it, we're meant to be understanding, ever available, ever accessible. We're meant to support them through life's events they experience, pregnancies, proposals, engagements, you name it. But yet again, they never focus on us single ladies. What say you about that?
I think that makes sense. It's nothing worse too, like when you're in a new relationship and your married friend's like, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
They talk to you like you're a kid. So I think that is kind of true, where it's like, I have things going on too. My
Right.
park in Jurassic Park, Xbox, new dinosaurs coming in. Nobody comes to celebrate that. You know what I mean?
That is so true. But yet, when little Jimmy or little Johnny has a, and not no pun intended to you, has a birthday
Average
party, they gotta. We're expected to drop everything, John, and then head on over there and celebrate. And that's the thing too. I don't know how you feel, but I'm thinking about a good friend of mine, and I hope he's not watching. But their 1-year-old child had a birthday, and hey, Guy, why don't you come on by? What the heck am I going to do there?
No, that's not a win for me. I'll send a gift. But what am I going to do? Is stand and look at little kid?
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah, that's weird.
I want to support. I'll come to like a 10th of the events. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When the kid's impressive, I'll come. A year old though, get some personality first.
Oh gosh, but one of the cool things about you is that you are an animal lover and all things animals. And so it's interesting. If you happen to celebrate, let's say, one of your dogs, a birthday or what have you, I would probably show up for that. But that's your version of like family and or being married, is it not?
And that's like my only thing I've looked forward to is like dogs are as expensive as kids are. I swear to God, it's the worst. Like my dog's going to doggy daycare this coming weekend.
Yeah,
that's going to be like $1,000. He better have a good time.
that's true. I was gonna. Yeah, I'll leave that alone. Some of the things that dog can do.
I want to be celebrated. You know what I mean?
As you should. Producer Joey now joining us for the second story right here on the LZ. What you got, my man?
All right, so this one might get us in trouble. I have a cousin staying with me through Thanksgiving coming soon, and this has nothing to do with you, Jesse. You're great. But people are asking, how long is too long for relatives to stay at your place? A new survey asked 2,000 Americans. The average say that nothing longer than 6 days.
Ooh,
is
6
okay.
days. That's a roommate.
6 days, that seems a little long, right?
Yeah, I'll pass it to you.
I'll put myself up for adoption if my parents are staying for 6 days, dude. Especially because in this area too, like everybody thinks everybody lives in DC.
Yeah.
So I tell relatives, I'm like, I'm in Gaithersburg. So like, if you can figure out the metro, great. But I'm not going to drive you around downtown.
That's so true.
Or if they we land at 4 o'clock at DCA. I'm like, sick. I'll see you at 8 o'clock. That's just not going to happen.
Right. 6 days. I don't think I would want to stay with someone for that long.
I'd feel awkward, but there is that one relative that I think that everybody has that will just stay and make themselves at home and like
my gosh.
really move in. That's too much time.
And it's so costly. I mean, to your point, they're going to want to, view all the sites. The Smithsonian now reopened yet again. I don't know. I just think after maybe a weekend. So let's say they get there Wednesday. Well, I guess they get there Wednesday and maybe they leave on Sunday. That's 4 days.
That's still too long. And like I have a bunch of aunts who are like, you really should redecorate your place. I'm like, I'm a single dude. We're not doing that.
Oh gosh! All right,
we're leaving the posters up.
As you said, so producer Joey, there you have it. I think we're kind of down to 3 or 2 days, not the 6
All right,
days.
good. I mean, we can negotiate that. I mean, it's definitely going to be longer than that, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, good luck on that one. We'll end with this, and that happens to be pop culture making smoking cool again. Apparently, a number of Gen Zers are looking at old magazines and things of the sort and saying that, you know what, smoking is cool. it's kind of weird. One caption read that smoking is not only cool, it is hot, and that pop culture is yet again making it cool again. I remember back in my day, intern John, there happened to be those, I don't know, 10 or 15 kids that during, let's say, was it PE, they would go outside and smoke cigarettes and all of that. And yeah, they were always like the kind of like, you know, cool kids a little bit. But as I have gotten older, it's like, that's not cool when you smoke.
Especially, it's winter. It's coming. You want to go outside now? You missed your window. Like, June have been fine, but no, it's been cold the last couple of like weeks here. Hell no.
Yeah.
I'll stay inside, thank you.
Yeah, you and me both. So kids, don't smoke cigarettes. It's not good for you. And,
you heard it here first.
Yeah.
See this beautiful face? No cigarettes ever.
I hereby denounce my generation. Do not, don't do this.
Thank you. We speaks for all Gen Zers right here.
Absolutely.
Intern John, you're coming up in a minute, obviously on The Take. One of the stories y'all are discussing.
Talking about the salary cap for women's soccer. And why, if it should be changed or not. I think it probably should be.
Yeah.
It's about time.
Oh, man. You can tell he's really passionate about this. All right. A man that sticks up for the ladies in more ways than one.
Always.
Intern John joining us right here on the Live Zone. I appreciate you, my friend. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. That and so much more. Cello, my friend.
Yes, good day. It looks like a lot of people in our area did leave and go to Spain for the game.
Yeah.
It was fun. And you know, the best part of the game was watching all of our DC fans out there. having a
Yeah,
great time.
that's the best part. And then I heard sangria happened to be plentiful out there, so.
Good. Yeah. Our colleague Steve Shenevy seems to be having a great time.
Oh, is he still there? Wow.
Yeah,
Good
he's
for
still
him.
there.
Okay.
Party continues, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, a party for him is one sangria, but whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I wish here on this Monday I'd only had one sangria.
You and me both.
Yeah, there you go. Current conditions, beautiful Monday afternoon with cool conditions. Guy just reported to me that when he was out and about earlier today, the wind was brisk and the temperatures were cool.
It was cold.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. 48 in Washington, and you're right, the wind's out of the west-northwest at 18, making it feel cooler than that, more like low 40s out there. And for sure, it'll be a chillier day than yesterday. Yesterday, we were in the mid-60s. Today, maybe low 50s. So 10-plus degrees cooler today than yesterday. The good news is we should keep it dry, and the reason why I mentioned that is today probably our brightest day of the week.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it's going to get to, November, we start to make that transition in the wintertime, and it gets a little more gloomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so decent afternoon. It will be brisk and cool. Temperature's about 50 and breezy at times with sunshine through, late afternoon, and then we'll be looking at quieter conditions tonight. We are going to get increasing clouds quickly tomorrow morning. If you look off to the south and west, out towards Memphis and St. Louis, a couple of sprinkles out there. There'll be a system that will get going later this afternoon and tonight, and watch it roll into our region tomorrow, mostly in the afternoon. That's tonight at 6:30. Sun's gone down. You're hopefully home from work and chilling out. And that's tomorrow morning. Look what arrives by early afternoon tomorrow afternoon.
Ah, that looks like rain.
That's rain. Maybe even a couple of snowflakes or sleet pellets mixed in southern Pennsylvania.
Try saying that fast 3 times, by the way.
Yeah, a little bit of a cold air mass out there. And it'll be a chilly afternoon with rain showers developing tomorrow. Should mostly be out of here by Wednesday morning, but then we kind of keep it gloomy and cloudy Wednesday and Thursday. And it's one of those weeks. But it's not terrible. It's just, it's not, sunshine and beauty.
Hey, it is what it is. We have to take it. So we'll do just that. Tucker Barnes, all things weather right here on the Live Zone with a side of sangria. Folks, if you haven't already done so, make sure you download the local app and take that forecast with you wherever you go. That's because, why? Well, you want to know the forecast, and we truly appreciate you watching the Fox 5 Live Zone. Obviously, covering a number of stories today. President Trump having an about-face surrounding the Jeffrey Epstein files, stating release them, not now, but ASAP. It will be really interesting to see how all of that plays out. Obviously, we will cover that for you right here on the LZ. Hey, did you hear earlier today? Well, we're talking all things fentanyl. In the state of Colorado, officials there now announcing the biggest seizure ever, so 198 kilos. We brought that breaking news to you earlier. And how about we talk all things go-go? In this case, celebrating go-go. Yes, the official music of Washington, D.C. It is officially, well, go-go week, as they like to call it. Right there on your TV screen, that's the way where you can vote for your favorite artist during the upcoming Go-Go Music Awards set to take place later this year. They're talking bands, venues, artists, and so much more, and we encourage you to do so. Well, that just about does it for us. On behalf of my producer, Joey, I'm Guy Lambert. We thank you so much for watching. We do it each and every Monday through Friday, 12 to 2. Tell a friend, bring a friend, and we'll do it again. The Take, coming up next, right here on Fox 5.